when you started, a lot of people, you know, they'll struggle. They're like, how do I move my camera? How do I do this? And how do I move? That's the exact same thing I went through. I don't know how to move this thing. It's like insane. So how you wanna move your camera is you wanna click the middle mouse button. Just hold it, and then you can rotate around the 3D space. And to zoom out or zoom in, you just have to rotate your mouse. Okay? For some people, you know, they don't have the middle mouse button. They can go here. You know, they can press this button, zoom in and zoom out, moving up and down with their left click button. Like, you click on this and you can move up and down, and you move in and out. And then if you click here, you can also move the same way as if you were to move with your middle mouse button. So to move around is middle mouse. To zoom in and out is scrolling in, like scrolling upwards and scrolling backwards. Should be pretty easy concept. Yep. And then to move like sideways, like to move like this, you'll have to click shift, and then click hold down the middle mouse button, and then you can move like diagonally. If you don't have the middle mouse button, you can just hold this hand button, just drag this. Okay, it is useful if you want to like zoom in on something that's over here, because, you know, if you want to zoom in something over here, it's very hard to just move your camera like this. You have to actually do this to look over there. So yeah. And so that's the basic navigation. So now you're able to navigate anywhere within the 3D space. That is the first step of learning Blender. You have to be able to, like, want to go wherever you want, right? So yeah, if you ever get lost, so let's say you're like super far away and then you want to get to a certain block, like let's say you want to get to this cube over here, you can also, if you have a numpad, click the dot on the numpad period, and then you just jump straight to the object that you want to orbit. So if you want to orbit here, let's say you're like super far away and you're like super like out of place and you want to get there, is like super hard, you just click the numpad period, and then you'll be teleported to this place. And then you can always just move out when you're making things. Okay, now you can teleport to any object you want. You can move around the 3D space however you want. Once you get familiar with this, so you know, you can right now just move around, get familiar with it. Try to. There's like a exercise that you can do to get really good at this, which is to press shift and then you move away, right? You move like super away, and then you want to get back, and you have to shift, and then you want to put this at your center, right? And then you get back to the place, or you can just press dot. Dot on the numpad. That's a good exercise for mastering moving around in the 3D space. And then the next things I'm going to be teaching you is moving around objects. Okay, there's 3 things you need to know for this to be able to move, rotate, expand objects. So this is the move. If you click here and then there's arrow signs, you can move the objects there. You can move it up. You can move it sideways, wherever you want. If you want to, like, for example, you moved out, like you moved it away, so far away, and then you want it to be back when it, like, I can just show you an example. Let's say you want your cube to be here, but you accidentally moved it like over here. You can click Control Z to redo things. Redo your action, Control Z, Control Z. It'll just teleport. It will just redo whatever you just did previously. Okay, so if you accidentally moved it out of place, you can just click Control Z to redo. Whenever you make a mistake, just click Control Z to redo. So that's movement, moving objects. Here's rotating, same thing. You can just use the arrow sign thing, and then you can rotate it. If you click on rotate and then you click the right click button, if you right clicked, it will just teleport back to its original place. So like you want to do something and then you found out you didn't want to rotate it in the first place, you just click right click and it'll be right back. Same thing with the movement, and same thing with the scale as well. So basically you've learned how to move objects, like using the move button, rotate, and then there's like the scale. Well, same thing. So you can press these arrows, or you can just, if you don't press the arrows, you know, you can just press the other white spots. It will just move the whole thing like randomly, more like in random, like this. If you want to make it straight, like you only want it to be straightly moved up, you just use these arrows. You click on these arrows and then it'll be exactly straight. So now that you've learned how to, you know, move these objects, you can move it, you can expand it, you can rotate it. The next important thing is duplication. if you want to duplicate an object, you want to click Control D. Click Control D. If you want to delete an object, you can press the delete button, not the backspace button, but the delete button, or the X button on your keyboard. I'll just click delete, and then it'll be deleted. When you're duplicating an object, okay, you can press the middle mouse button, and then it'll be able to move on like a straight axis. Okay, if you don't, you can also just move it like around, like this, if you want. It doesn't really matter as much, but okay, you're now able to duplicate, delete objects, and do things like that. When you're able to duplicate objects and basically move them around, you can create models now. Okay, very basic models. Like you can make a house, literally. So you can just make this a wall. You know, you can expand it. You can make this a wall, for example. And then you click Control D. Right, you have 2 walls already. Like for Roblox users, Roblox Studio users, it's like the same as insert parts, and then you can move the parts and make them differently. But yeah, you can also do this very easily in Roblox Studio. But now this is just the beginning. Okay, you can change them however you want, and then you can actually make a house. Shift D, Control D. Now you have 2, and then you can rotate it like 90 degrees. And then you click Shift. Oh yeah, if you want to select multiple objects, you want to click Shift, and then you click on the object. So you click on one object, and you click Shift, and then you can select the other object. And then you can change the 2 properties at once. So yeah. So you're now able to actually make houses and like things that look like cubes. Like I was able to make like entire apartment using this skill. So for right now, you want to have a reference aside, and then you will like go around and then you start building. For example, you duplicate this whole thing, and then you make it a little sideways. Oops, I'll move this away, and then you duplicate this, click the middle mouse button so that has that thing, and then you can actually make it a house. And then you put windows here. You can make the windows separately. Like for example, have this cube, you know, you can shrink it like this to make a window frame. Whenever if your camera is like super far away and you want to get there, you can always just click the period button on your numpad if you have one. Okay. And then yeah, and then you can basically, let me just show you quickly how to Control Z. Quickly how to make a window like really fast. Like this is like extreme beginner, so you Control D again. Nope, I think I moved it too inside, so make it a little bit outside. Control D. Shift click, and then Shift D again. R90 X. If you want like precise numbers, for example, you only want to rotate 90 degrees, for example. You want to click on the thing that you want to rotate. For example, you want to rotate this thing. You want to click R for rotate, and then you clicked the angle that you want to rotate it. For example, you want to click 90 degrees to rotate it 90 degrees, but it's just randomly rotating 90 degrees. It doesn't know which direction. So you can just click X, Z, or Y to check which parts. So for example, you don't know, like, for example, you want to rotate like this shown right now, but you don't know like which one it is. So you click X. It's like, okay, this is not the rotation I want. You click Z. Okay, it's not the rotation I want, and you click Y, and then like, okay, this is the rotation I want. You can just click, and then it'll be that rotation. And then you can click Control Z, get back, Shift click, and shrink. Oops, shrink this, and then you kind of have a window. You can Control D again, Shift D, right click so it's at its original place. R90 X. So it's 9 degrees rotation to the x-axis, and then you have your window. And then you can click all these windows. Shift D. Oops, there. Shift D again. You kind of have a house there, right? Very, very extremely easy house to make. You could spend a lot of time actually make a cabin, make different things like that, using all of this just using the move, rotation, scale, duplication, like tools, and then you can make a house. That's how you get started, basically. And I will add two more things, okay, to end this basic course. So like the very extremely basic. So you are able to create basic objects. Like literally, you can use this skill to actually get commissions. I'm literally not kidding. There's a lot of people out there, they don't even have this skill. Literally, it's a lot about experience, because like right now what you're seeing over here, this is like not very good, but you can use the move, rotation, and scale to make like decent buildings without relying on any other tools to make like decent buildings. Like if I can show you an example right here that I made. Alright, just using move, rotation, and scale. So yeah, and also there's like two more tools I want to show you that I also used that is extremely easy. So number one tool is this one over here. So you know, when you're rotating like this, when you're trying to see if this is like, for example, you want to see if this is straight, because sometimes it's like a little bit crooked, or like that. You can't really tell. You know, and then you want to make it very precise. What you want to do is you want to go over here and click on this, so it has a very flat view, so it's looking directly at the x-axis, directly. So when you're changing things, for example, you want to make this only be over here, you can go on the x-axis, look exactly up, and then you can change things very precisely. This is extremely useful when you're building a little bit more complex things, when you're learning. And the other tool is, it's a shortcut, so you want to click Shift, then you click these things, and then you click Control J. Now this entire thing is connected. Look at that, it's just beautiful. And make sure, okay, because there's like common mistakes. So some people will do like this. Like all of this is orange, and then they try to click Control J. It will not connect, because there's no things that's set as origin. So you have to make one part of it yellow to press Control J, and then it's connected there. Okay? So you have to like select, and then you at least have to leave one part of it yellow, and then you click Control J, and it'll be connected. And also, let's say your origin point, you know, the origin point is the yellow part. It's origin point. So the last one I clicked. So it'll use this part as its origin point. Let me show you what an origin point is. Control J. Origin point is where it moves. So you move, it's going to be moving from here. For this one, it's moved from the center. So if you want to make it to the center, you can always just press Object, Set Origin, Origin to Geometry, and then it'll go to the exact center of your object. So the origin will be the exact center of your object. So how about this? We'll do like a final example to test your skills. Since I've kind of already made this, so you kind of know how to actually, like I've shown you how to actually make something like this. So let me make like a chair now. You want to click, oh yeah. There's also another thing. So you see, like I've only been duplicating the single object, but I actually haven't added any objects. So some people actually might just delete everything. I was like, oh, how do I add the cube back? That's a really good question. I just thought of that right now. So if you want to add cubes, you want to add like cylinders, something like that, anywhere, you just want to set the cursor to whatever you want that thing to be. For example, I want it to be here. Okay, I want an object to be spawning here. Remember that, so this cursor, put it wherever you want the object to spawn. It's like a spawn point. And then you press add, and then mesh, and then whatever object you want. All of these are objects. Basically, if you look at this image, it's the exact object that it will spawn. So look at the image, it's a cube. You click on it, it spawns a cube. It's like a mob spawner in Minecraft. Yeah, and then you spawn a cube, and then you can work with the cube. So let's make a simple chair. Okay. So usually you want to have a reference. You want to look at it, but I'm not bringing up any references, just from memory. I mean, I'm going to be making a bench. A bench. My bad, I keep calling them chairs for some reason. So Control D. Okay, I have two legs for the bench. And you want the R 90 degrees x-axis. So benches don't just have two legs, they also have this thing. that like they hold like a middle piece. Like I can show you. So Shift D again, and then now you have 2 legs for the bench, and then you want to spawn another cube over here. Cube, shrink it. Oops. You want to flatten it for the wood, for the bench, right? So there. Make it longer. Shift D. Shift D. Oops. Oh, there we go. We have a very simple bench that could be used if you're making like for a game asset as well. So if you're making like a game, you can put this in. If you think the wood is a bit too large, you can also just shrink it. Delete these two. Shift D. Shift D again. Shift D. And then there's your chair. Now you go and make your own chair, basically. Go and like make something like a chair. Yeah. So it's like I've done my turn, so I've made all these things, showing you all the steps. You know, you can also just select all of these, shift click on somewhere, and then Control J, and then there's your chair. I mean bench. Now you make a bench by yourself without looking at this. Challenge yourself. If you can do it, you're already at entry level of modeling, because not everyone can actually do this.